Since we both have allergies, we'll be good. Okay, so one of the things that you've been working on with Joe is your modeling of problems, and Joe gave you a shout out yesterday and today. I just read through his notes about just your huge improvements in modeling. So what are the specific things that you have done that have led to that success?
One is being prepared, making sure I'm printing out everything like before, making sure I'm going through all of my problems, I'm going through all the work like before, and I can sleep on it, get everything prepared. Another thing is step by step, those takeaways you gave me, those action steps.
Mm-hmm.
One, pulling out key information. 2, organizing my lesson plan, and then 3, taking it step by step. So I'm breaking down each part of that model problem. I'm leaving my key takeaways separate. I'm not touching that until I need a main phrase or a main takeaway. I'm doing all my work on the left-hand side, keeping it different from the right-hand side. Keeping everything as concise and clean and clear as possible.
Awesome. What has been the impact of that in your classroom?
The impact of that is that the kids are more engaged, because by me taking the reins more and just going through it, getting it done, I'm leaving less room for them to ask questions and less room for them to get off task, start talking, chattering, poking around with each other. So by me just having my structure down and going straight through it, being all in, it makes the class run a little more smooth, and the kids are a little more attentive.
Yeah, I read through Joe's notes from today, and he said that the quality of student work today was like infinitely better than any other day.
Cool.
So nice work.
Awesome, thank you.
You're making moves in 2 weeks. I'm serious, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So today we're going to dive into, and I previewed this with you already, issuing lightning quick corrections. So super fast corrections. So I'm going to model for you how I would do it with my chemistry lesson. I actually printed it off. And what I want you to do is, I think you have some room on the back of that paper, or paper blank piece of paper. I'm going to give you 2 questions to look for while I'm modeling. So the first thing I want you to look for is what wording format. So what wording do I use to issue the lightning quick correction? And then the second one is what's effective about how I issue the lightning quick correction. So I'm going to go up here.
Awesome.
Turn my camera. I'm actually going to do it for real with the doc cam. That's one of the hardest parts.
True. Yes.
Come on. The right input.
Oh, it may.
Might be the wrong input.
I have to unconnect it from the doc cam and put it into the.
Is that that? What is that?
I don't ever touch that. Your computer will.
No, it's okay. I can do it without it, then we'll set you up when you practice. It's all right. It's okay. Don't know how to do anything that you're going to need.
Okay.
All right, so I'll get back to your table. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go over how to make a scale for this graph. We know that whenever we have a table like this, the first column is always the x, the second column is always the y. First, what we want to do is label our x-axis with our independent variable. Jalen, that's 1. No side conversations. Voice off. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to this, and I have temperature in degrees Celsius. Paper matches board. Ryan, that's 1. Off task. Take notes. Thank you. All right, so we see that our lowest number is 1, our highest number is 30, and that there's kind of a trend that it goes by 5s. Even though we have a 1, that's okay, we can still go by 5s. We're going to skip lines, and we're going to put our first line right here. That's a 5. Paper matches board. Then we skip a line, and then we have 10. Linnell, that's 1, voice off. Thank you. Then we skip another line, and we have 15, 20. Okay, so what format did I use to issue the corrections? What wording did I use to issue the corrections?
So it was pretty consistent.
What did I say?
You used the name, the point, so Jackson, that's 1. You stated the correction.
Perfect.
Off task, and then you said thank you and continue.
Great. So what else was effective that I did?
You paused. Before you went into it, the correction, you paused. And you kept it short, concise to the point. And then it wasn't in the condescending kind of way, it was like in the gracious kind of way. You said thank you to keep going. You kept things moving along. You never really stopped for too much longer, a couple seconds.
Right, the moving along. Just say what it is and nothing more and move on. Also, you picked up on the neutral tone. It can be challenging when kiddos aren't being their best selves. We have to be the adults and keep the neutral tone. So what's the impact of issuing lightning quick corrections like that?
Impact would be people take it serious. The kids take it seriously. You're not leaving any room for them to get off task and for them to comment or say, "Oh, really? That's 3," and something like that. And you keep it moving, keep things going. You can continue with the class. What's the effect? You said.
About the quick part. If you keep it moving, you're going to make sure that you keep as much time as possible for practice. Because the more time we lose for corrections and misbehavior, the less time we have for kids to practice what you just taught them.
Absolutely.
So what's been the challenge for you in issuing lightning quick corrections?
The challenge for me was, or is, first of all, just knowing what demerits are what demerits. Because the children have been in the system a lot longer than I have. So they'll
The 10th
correct
graders
me.
have,
Yeah,
yes.
and they'll say, no, this actually this demerit.
Okay.
So that's a challenge. And just getting in rhythm with the KIP structure. There's no room for like really arguing back and forth. It's just, it's how it is. Keep going.
Great. I would also say the format. So just real quick, like you're noticing the behavior, so I don't think radar is the issue. You're noticing when they're happening, but sometimes you're like, guys, I need all the voices off, or I need your voice off because la 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 la, and nothing you're saying is wrong. It's just not lightning quick. And it takes away from your model. So moving forward this next week, this is your action step. The what? I love that you're writing it down. Is issue lightning quick corrections. And the how, you're going to do that, there's 4 parts. The first part is pause and make eye contact. And the second one is use the format. And I'll tell you what that is once you have that. The format is name, demerit number. It's like the demerit number and name, you know, like 1 for off task, if that makes sense, and then the correction. So name, demerit number, and correction. Number 3, wait for correction and say thank you. If a student responds inappropriately, then you issue -2 inappropriate response. And then you keep it moving.
Gotcha.
All right, read that back to me. Let's make sure we're on the same page.
So I have my action steps for this week. The what is issuing lightning quick corrections.
Perfect.
How, 1, I'm going to pause and make eye contact. 2, use the format, which is, as part of this, which is name, demerit number, and then correction. 3, I'm going to wait for correction and say thank you. And then 5, if there's an inappropriate response, I'll take -2 and keep it moving.
Great. So I did make a little cheat sheet for you about what the most common demerits and what you would say. These are the absolute most common ones because I just heard you say like the kids know it better and it's hard to know which ones. Honestly, these are the top ones I could ever see you using in class. There's other ones that'll come up less frequently, but we can move on to those later. So before I have you practice with your algebra model today, I kind of want to do like a little layup drill. So I'm going to give you a scenario, and you're going to tell me what you would say.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in class today, and you're answering, or you asked a question, and Jure calls out an answer. What do you say?
Jure, that's one calling out.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Demir, and then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure, gotcha.
Okay. Jure responds, "Oh my God." In response, what do you say?
Jure, that's two inappropriate reaction. Let's keep moving.
Great. You look around the room during the model problem, and Caleb isn't taking notes. What do you say?
Caleb, that's one off task. Take notes.
Great. Craig and Raheem, I picked real life things, huh?
Right.
Craig and Raheem are whispering during independent practice. What do you say?
Craig and Raheem, that's one outside conversation. Voices off.
Great. You're going over the model problem, and Imani yells out, "I can't see that." What do you say?
Imani, that's one calling out. Raise your hand.
Great.
Don't call out.
All right, so now we're going to practice using your actual algebra model for today. So I want you to go up, and you can get your .cam set up so that we can prep for next period too.
Gotcha.
I'm going to be in this first round. I'm just going to do like the most common ones, like side conversation, calling out, and stuff like that. After we master that, in the next round, I'm going to be a little spicier and respond inappropriately. Okay?
All right.
So if you want to get your problem up here, and this will get you another round of practice in the model too.
Gotcha.
Looks like my chemistry room upstairs.
So what's up with this guy? I need my computer for this. That's why.
Okay, take your time. Okay, don't worry, please. It's on my phone. Yes, it's yours. Don't let me steal it. Talking about the problem. And input options. Sorry, I messed it up.
Which one is it normally? Probably PCA.
HDMI maybe? Sorry, I messed up your setup.
Yeah, okay. You didn't understand anyway. As long as this is hooked up to this.
If you have the HDMI hooked up to the .cam, then it should be one of the HDMIs for the input. So try 1 and 2 and 3 and just give it a second, because it takes sometimes a minute for it to pop up.
Okay.
Yeah, try 3. I feel like that's going to be, the third time's going to be a charm.
Okay. Yeah, turn it off.
Yeah. You got a line, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
Alright.
I'm just going to again do like regular student behaviors. But you just start your model problem from the start.
Your cheat sheet. Could be the cheat sheet too.
I'm not sure where you put it.
No worries. Alright, so we can go ahead and start.
Yep.
Okay. So follow me guys to your model problem. From last night's homework, a third friend, Haven, is also hiking the hill to meet Eddie.
I can't see it.
Drake, that's one calling out. Please raise your hand. She makes it 20 meters up the hill in the first 5 minutes. I want you guys to underline 20 meters up the hill in the first 5 minutes of her hike. Shannon, that's one, eyes on me. Please pay attention. Then pauses for 3 minutes to drink water. She then increases elevation to an average rate of 10 meters per minute until she reaches 80 meters. So where we're starting at, guys, we're going to start right here at 0. We're starting at 0. Because she started from the bottom of the hill. All right? Jasmine, that's one, eyes on me. Please pay attention.
So I was having a side conversation. If I'm turning and talking like that, you probably couldn't hear me, but I was having a side conversation. So keep going. I'm going to do a side conversation again, but I want to hear what it sounds like. So watch for me to have one.
Gotcha. Now, she eats with Eddie and James at the top of the hill for 15 minutes. I want to square that 15 minutes, guys, because Jasmine, side conversation, -1, eyes on me. Then returns down the hill, decreasing in elevation at an average rate of 5 meters per minute.
Okay.
Format.
So your format was effective. You are using the language of what that we do have for merits and demerits. Make sure you wait for them to correct it. Like just keep your eyes on them for a second before moving on. Because that last one you didn't thank me and I could have still been talking because you moved on almost like too quick. It was too lightning quick that time. Okay? So let's just keep going and I'll have a side conversation again and I want to have you pause. Great.
All right. She eats with Eddie and James at the top of the hill for 15 minutes. I want you to square 15 minutes, guys. That's important. That's going to be our constant. That means it's constant right here. That's the word for the day, constant. Then returns down the hill,
Turning and talking.
increasing in elevation.
Talking.
Jasmine, that's one for side conversation. Thank you. And decreases in elevation at an average rate of 5 meters per minute.
Great.
Keep going.
What's the correction for a side conversation?
-2.
No, you're right. It's -1. But what should you say if you go look back to that format for a side conversation? You lost it. I can print another one.
No, I'm not somewhere. It's here somewhere. Let's see. I'm back in my lesson for this. Yep, I got it right here.
Perfect.
Awesome. So for side conversation, voice is off. No conversation, voice is off.
Great. Voice is off. All right. So I'm going to have you do it again.
Thank you.
And I'm going to do random things, okay?
Random things. All right. All right. So guys, from last night's homework, a third friend, Haven, is also hiking the hill to meet Eddie and James. Jasmine, that's -1, head down. Please sit up. Thank you. She makes it 20 meters up the hill in the first 5 minutes. of her hike. I go down, I label 0 as my starting point.
Where's 0?
Jasmine, that's -1 calling out. Please raise your hand.
Perfect. Great.
Then pauses for 3 minutes to drink water. She then increases elevation at an average rate of 10 meters per minute until she reaches 80 meters.
I don't really know what we're doing.
Jessica, that's 1 side conversation. Voice is off.
What?
That's 2 inappropriate reaction.
That's
Keep it moving.
Okay.
Thank you. She eats with Eddie and James at the top of the hill for 15 minutes and then returns down the hill. Here's our word right here, decreasing in elevation at an average rate of 5 meters per. Simone, that's -1, head down. Please sit up.
Demerits, demerits, demerits.
Jessica, that's -2, inappropriate reaction. Let's keep going, guys.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, you can come back here. Normally, they're not going to pep you with that many behaviors, but you can tell I've been teaching all day, can't you? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to come in tomorrow during second period because I want to get some video and work on your next action step, and I want to see you issuing lightning quick corrections. So I'll be here second period. If I notice a kiddo that needs a correction, I'll just kind of discreetly point to them in the back of the room.
Okay.
All right. Any questions before I depart?
No, not on this. Everything's good.
Okay. I think that cheat sheet's really going to help you a lot.
Yeah.
I'll share the electronic copy with you too.
Okay.